Hey there, how's it going? My name is Aaron, and over the last year, I have tried out tons of bait finesse rods and reels. What I wanted to do is share my top 4 budget bait finesse reels that you can get for under $80 to give your 2023 just an amazing amount of fun. Because honestly, BFS or bait finesse style, it's really reinvigorated the way I feel. In fact, I joke around that BFS really stands for Big Fish System. So what I want to do today is I want to share with you 4 reels that you can get into for under 80 bucks and try out bait finesse yourself. So let's just jump right into it. The very first one is the Dark Wolf Ultra. Aside from having maybe the best box ever for, modern reels, the Dark Wolf Ultra was the first reel that I really connected with, and it was the second bait finesse reel I had, and after the first one I was sort of like, I don't know if this is really for me. But the Dark Wolf Ultra, it's really something special, and in fact 2 or 3 of the other reels were inspired by the Dark Wolf Ultra. So the fact that they're often considered clones or at least variants of this reel, I think says a lot, and that's why to me, this is the first choice, the Dark Wolf Ultra. Now, first thing, I want you to be careful because there's a Dark Wolf and then there's a Dark Wolf Ultra. And the Dark Wolf Ultra is the KF50S. You want to make sure you get the Ultra because the Dark Wolf, it's just not in the same level. If we look here on AliExpress, that's the best place to get it. Right now, at the time of this recording, this is going for $61.99 and shipping is free. And it says you'll probably get it in about 3 weeks, so which isn't too bad because for most people this is winter time. And $61.99 Dark Wolf Ultra. This reel actually caught a few of my PBs this year, and I just every time I pick it up, I'm amazed at how good it is for the money. And I paid more than $62 for $62. This is almost a no-brainer. It's got a clicking drag, feels really good after hours and hours of use and abuse. These are still holding up great. And in fact, I'm going to start modifying one of them to squeeze a little bit of extra performance out of them. That's how much I like them. So Dark Wolf Ultra, number 1 choice in my book. Now the second reel is the Tsurinoya Genius. Now Tsurinoya also makes the Dark Wolf Ultra. So this is supposedly the new sort of version of the Dark Wolf Ultra. But I will say that the braking system is entirely different. So it is a little bit different reel. It's built on the same platform, but it is not the same reel. It's not just an update with new colors and a new name. It also has the clicking drag. It's got the same, it's really cosmetically, it's almost identical. It's just the interior brake systems that have really changed. It's pretty much the same weight. It's got a much more boring box. Why would I get the Genius over the Dark Wolf Ultra if I love the Dark Wolf Ultra so much? The biggest one is this one has a higher gear ratio. I think this is 8 to 1 or 8.1 to 1, where the Dark Wolf Ultra is a little bit more of a standard gear ratio. So if you're fishing shallow streams, especially for trout, and that's where I expect this to get some more work for me. When you're fishing those streams that have like 1 or 2 foot of water, that extra gear ratio can really make a little bit of a difference for you, especially if you're fishing jerk baits and stuff. So number 2 on the list is the Tsurinoya Genius. You can see right now that as the time of recording, it's $73, also free shipping, also arriving in about 3 weeks. All of the reels that I get are left hand, but all of these will be available in either left or right hand. There is also a sort of a regular speed version of this called the Elf. I haven't tried it, I haven't experienced it, but if you're like, well, I don't need 8.0 to 1, I want more like, I think it's 6.4 to 1 on the Elf. So if you want sort of a very traditional that maybe you'd use for spinner baits and chatter baits and stuff like that, then the Elf might be the better choice than the Genius. In some ways, I can always slow down if I use a higher gear ratio, but that 6.4, there's only so fast I can turn my hands and make it work. So again, number 2, the Tsurinoya Genius. Number 3 on the list is the Kastking Valiant Eagle 2. The nice thing about this is there's a lot of different colors to choose from too. If nothing else makes a difference, say, well, which color do I want? Do I want gray, blue? Do I want a little bit more of a reddish color? This is a very new reel. I've fished with it a handful of times now. It's also got the clicking drag. This is essentially the same as the Kastking Valiant Eagle with a different, it's got a carbon body instead of magnesium, and it doesn't have the bearings in the handle. But on the inside, this is almost identical to the reel that they're selling for $200 and some. I like this. If you are a beginner and you always have problems with backlashing bait casters, this might be the reel for you. This reel is definitely overbraked, so I can cast it, and I'm not a great caster. I have been casting this at virtually 0 brakes. I think the brakes go to 10 in 2 steps, and actually from the last time I used it, it's set on minimum right now. So that's the knock on this reel, is that, you know, it's got way too many brakes. Now there are a couple reasons that could be good. A, you're new at bait casting and you want the most possibility of not backlashing. You're going to sacrifice potentially a little bit of distance, but I think I was still getting like 94 feet, which is 30 yards plus with this reel. So it's not like it can't cast at all. I mean, this was still getting pretty nice distance. The other reason that this might be cool is if you find, or they come out with aftermarket spools that are even lighter, although the spool is already pretty light, but let's say you could get a 3 gram spool or something like that, that extra braking might actually come in handy. Maybe not, but it's a good reel. It's not the best. That's why I'm bringing it up third. It's still a really good reel. It's probably got the best presentation and packaging when you unbox it. They really do a nice job with that. So it does look nice. It looks like the premium market. As far as I know, this is only available on AliExpress. It's not being offered in the US market because they don't want to cannibalize. It would be my assumption. They don't want to cannibalize the Valiant Eagle market, which again launched at $249 or $279, and it regularly is selling for around $220. This right now is also $61 on AliExpress. Does it have free shipping? And that's with free shipping. And again, they're estimating 3 weeks. I will say that if you're thinking about ordering these, the Chinese New Year happens in February. So if you're going to order from AliExpress and you want stuff for like early March, you might want to do it now. And I'll have links to all these down below. So I would suggest you order sooner than later. But that's number 3, the Kastking Valiant Eagle. I'm going to continue to fish it this year. It's good for the right person. And maybe you're just a fan of Kastking the brand. And so in that case, I would get this. In fact, I would buy this any day over the, what have I been saying? I've been saying the Valiant Eagle. The Kestrel Elite is the expensive one. So I would buy this any day over the Kestrel Elite. Hands down, no questions asked. If I was going to spend that much on a reel, there are so many other reels that I would buy first. Maybe that's a whole other video that I have to do. The 4th reel is the only one that I haven't actually tried, but it is another Dark Wolf Ultra clone. It's called the Soloking Accura. And the reason I wanted to highlight this one is the biggest thing that it has going for it, it comes with 2 spools. So it has the shallow spool that you typically get, but it also has a little bit deeper spool. So if you wanted to fish some other applications, or you just wanted to have more line, maybe you wanted more than that 40 or 50 yards of line, it's pretty much identical to the Dark Wolf Ultra and a couple of the other clones. That second spool option, I think it really gives it just a little bit more flexibility, I think. It's currently $70 on AliExpress. I thought about getting one of them at one point, but it's like, I've had a couple of the other clones. Now I've got the Genius, which is similar, so we'll see how that goes. So I don't know that the Accura, that I need to get another of essentially the same reel. But the bonus thing on the Soloking is that extra spool. Okay, and then a little bit of a bonus. So this is the Kingdom Micro Monster. It is also essentially a Dark Wolf Ultra clone. But what I find interesting about this is it has pretty much the same braking system as the Genius. This is the purple version. They have 2 different versions of this. One's called like a bass on a pike cup. Yeah, so this is the 8.1 to 1 gear ratio. So ironically, this might be a very close clone to the Dark Wolf or to the Genius at this point. They are slightly different in construction, but very slightly. It might be mostly cosmetic. It's been a good reel. I've used it some. The pink option is 7.1 to 1. The purple option is 8.1 to 1. I think cosmetically, it's got a really nice look, and that's why I wanted to mention it. But the Kingdom Micro Monster, right now, it's going for $72.25 for this one and $76 for the 7.1 to 1. It also has free shipping. Also says it'll get here within 3 weeks. You can spend a lot on fishing gear. I've got a lot of reels that I've spent a lot of money on, but I will still pick up these reels and use them even though I have $250, $350 reels in my arsenal. So if you're thinking about getting into bait finesse, or you just wanted to try a different reel, or you were ever had any wonders, like, is that AliExpress stuff any good? I'll say yes, it is. When I first got the Dark Wolf Ultra about a year ago, I was wondering, like, well, is it going to hold up? And honestly, I've had zero issues with it whatsoever. I don't have any hesitation recommending you buy these. And the fact that you can get pretty high quality, pretty sophisticated reels for under 80 bucks, it's absolutely phenomenal. So if you have any questions, let me know. If you want to see any comparisons of these reels to other reels, I'm happy to do that as well. So do me a favor, down in the comments, let me know which one of these is your favorite and why. I think that'll help people when they look through the comments and try to figure out which reel they want to buy. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.